right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Thomas Trombley. I am with the Windows Servicing and Delivery team at Microsoft. I focus on enterprise-focused communications, prescriptive at that, to make sure you get the most out of Windows 10 and 11, Windows Client really all up in your environment. I'm joined today by 4 esteemed colleagues, really friends, and I'd like to take a quick minute to have them introduce themselves. And I'll start with my good pal, Steve Thomas. Steve, could you kindly introduce yourself to the crew?
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas. I'm a senior program manager, currently working with Cloud Endpoint Technical Specialist in state and local governments here at Microsoft.
Thanks, Steve. Aria, you and I have been working on blogs and building your brand, and of course, you're all on Twitter and what have you, so many people know you for your enterprise-focused comms. Introduce yourself, if you would, please.
Hi, I'm Aria, and this is Pepper. We do commercial update management and the like.
Many thanks to you and Pepper. Joe Southside, Joe Lurie, please introduce yourself to your friend. Good to see you.
It's nice to see you. It's Joey Southside. You need the Joey, not just Joe.
Wow.
For some reason,
Okay.
It doesn't work with Joe Southside. My name is Joe Lurie, and I'm on the Microsoft Intune and Microsoft Endpoint Manager engineering team.
Thanks, Joe. And Harjit, with the fashionable headwear and looking good, please give us a warm introduction, if you would, please.
All right, so I'm Harjit Dalwal. I'm a customer engineer at Microsoft, and I focus on all the modern things, right? M365, modern workplace. Thanks for having me.
It's really good to see you. Thanks for joining us. It's been a busy year. I can't believe it's December 6th now. I don't know where the rest of 2021 went, but it sure snuck up on us, and here we are coming to the end of the year. It's been a real busy year for Windows with the release of the announcement and the release of 11. Our changing cadence for Windows 10. I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you guys are excited about relative to 11. I think I really want to start with Aria. You've been writing quite a bit on 11, and you've been a big part of Ignite and some of the other internal sessions that we have. I'd love for you to share a little bit about what you have.
Yeah, I think Windows 11's been a lot of 2021 for many of us, at least here. And I know with it, there came some things for both Windows 10 and Windows 11 that I'm personally super excited about. No, I'm biased since I built some of them, but that aside, biases aside, I'm really excited about the new functionality to select which update types for Windows updates come from Windows Server Update Service and your local WSS server, or which ones come from Windows Update in the cloud, managed with Windows Update for Business. I'm a huge proponent, as most people who have read anything I've written know, of people doing what works best for their device types, organizations, and needs. And so it's super exciting to be able to say, cool, I want drivers and quality updates from the cloud and leverage Windows Update for Business and modern management. And then also at the same time say, but I'm not ready for future updates or other Microsoft product updates from the cloud yet. Like, I'm going to stick with WSUS for those. And I think it's super exciting that you can now do that. Although I know Steve is going to jump in here and say what he's super excited about with Windows 11, because I know he also has some biases to display there.
Now, Steve, I know you do have a few items. You're anxious to get to them. I think we were thinking about ARM and WSL features.
Well, I think I'm going to nerd out a little bit here, but I need to speak for the devs when I say how massively hyped I am about first and foremost, x64 emulation support on Windows 10 ARM edition. That means you can now run x64 applications optimally on this Windows running on like the Surface Pro X, Windows running on many of the other new devices like the Lenovo Mix or many of the other Qualcomm-based processors. And we've had x86 emulation, but now that we have x64, this strengthens, it adds to the compatibility matrix and allows enterprises to adopt these new, more modern, secure devices that leverage the ARM processor. And then, of course, the Linux innovation has been incredible. It's just been amazing. And with Windows 11, you now can run full GUI-based Linux subsystems. So you can run Edge for Linux side by side with Edge natively for Windows, and the same with Microsoft Teams. And it's really beneficial for developers. And of course, I don't want to bury the lead. This leads to other innovation, like the innovation coming to supporting the through the Android subsystem, running Android apps from the Amazon store as a result of this on Windows 11. Just so much stuff in terms of features that people sometimes I don't think people understand all of the new stuff that's in Windows 11, other than the cosmetic changes and the cosmetic features. There's just so many platform enhancements to get excited about. All right, I'll
Steve. I can kind of tell you're a little bit excited. So let me ask Joe and Harjit. Joe, let's start with you and some of the things that you're excited to see coming for Windows 11.
You asked me third, and so some of my stuff's already been taken over. And I love the Android apps through the Amazon store in Windows 11, Windows Update for Business, the managing side by side. So there's a lot of great stuff coming with Windows 11, or that's here with Windows 11 today. And so those, Aria and Steve already stole my thunder on some of those, but, even as an end user, the new simplified settings panel or settings app, and, and I do like that new start menu, that cosmetic change as well that Steve was referencing.
Okay. And Harjit, last but not least, I'm going to go next. So I'm happy to be the trailer here. Harjit, do you have anything you want to share with the audience today on what you're excited about with respect to 11?
Well, I think all my friends have already shared some really good stuff, like Joe was mentioning. I really like the new design. It's clean. It's seems efficient. And it's easy to use, right? Some of the things I'm excited about is like the the multi-tabs, multi-windows, that you can click in the corner and get, the six windows and stuff like that, so you can work efficiently. I'm also big into the whole emoji stuff, right? As someone who does a lot of social media and stuff like that, and those emojis things are really exciting for me as well.
Right on. Well, I think there's a couple of things that I'm personally excited about, and certainly writing about with the crew. And first of all is the seamless management across Windows 10 and 11, regardless of what device you're using, or if you're managing a mix across the environment. It's really nice that the tools and processes you have today to plan, prepare, and deploy Windows 10 are going to work tomorrow for Windows 11. So it's really nice to see that both those processes that you've been working towards, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the support cycle for 10 in just a second, but Windows 10 that you've been using, you can use them tomorrow. And the other thing, kind of to Harjit's point, is like you juggling things across multiple screens to support hybrid work. Here at home, I've got a large curved monitor running behind this screen, and it just seamlessly works. When I step into the office and plug it in, I have two different screens there. Unlike 10, it just seems to work so much more fluidly, so that my stuff just pops really nicely. It's so conducive to hybrid work, and I really love seeing that. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the questions that came in, and we all know the answer to this, so I'm actually going to pose this to Joe, because I think, Joe, you've been working on this one for quite a while. But the first question that came in was, how long will Windows 10 be supported? I would love to upgrade to Windows 11, but my computer lacks TPM and has an old CPU. If you could talk a little bit about that really quick.
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's a common question. So Windows 10 will be supported till, I'll give you an exact date, October 14, 2025, which is a Tuesday. It's a patch Tuesday in October 2025, so you'll receive patches that Tuesday, but that'll be the last set of patches that you receive on Windows 10. Again, that's October 14, 2025. Now, regarding the TPM and the CPU, you probably do have a TPM if you bought your computer in the last few years, but it may not be turned on in the BIOS. And even if you have one, it might not be version 2.0. So when we look at the older CPUs or look at the TPM that may be version 1.2, those will need to stay on Windows 10 until October 14, 2025, or until you upgrade to a newer device. And the reason for that is all the security enhancements that TPM are required for TPM, and all the security enhancements that the CPU give us as well. So Windows 11, because it's secure out of the box with no management intervention or settings configuration. So Windows 11 does have that requirement for TPM and the newer CPU. So you're good on Windows 10 until October 14, 2025.
Great. Thank you, Joe. I think one thing to add to that is our recent announcement, I believe on November 16th, that we're going to shift our cadence for Windows 10 feature updates to a single annual feature update per year. And then, of course, we're going to continue with those monthly quality updates that you spoke about. So it's kind of nice to see the alignment of cadence. I think that news was well received across audiences, both commercial and consumer. So it was really nice to see. A question that came in is, does Microsoft use device information from companies using Intune to analyze the readiness for Windows 11? So let's talk a little bit about how a company might want to assess its overall environment readiness relative to 11 and the existing devices that they have. Steve, I think I saw you raise your hand. Do you want to tackle this one?
Yeah. First and foremost, Microsoft has a platform on Intune for customers to actually, and not just Intune, but also on Azure for customers to actually analyze their own readiness for Windows 11. We have a Windows 11 readiness component to our Endpoint Analytics feature of Microsoft Endpoint Manager, which can be accessed in the Endpoint Manager console, formerly the Intune console, and for customers who aren't necessarily leveraging Endpoint Manager yet, or are unable to, like some of our government cloud customers. There's also Update Compliance, which is available as an Azure solution, which also has a Windows 11 readiness capability built into that as well for assessing your devices.
Great. Thank you, Steve. I think, Aria, you had a couple comments you wanted to add on this one?
Yeah, I was just going to say, we've also done actually a lot of work on the back end. So you don't really even need to think about it. Let's say in Intune, you create an update ring and accidentally assign devices in that update ring to upgrade to Windows 11. Well, it turns out when those devices scan, they'll actually send up information that enables us to say, oh, actually, you don't meet the hardware requirements for Windows 11. To ensure you get the best experience and stay productive, we're not going to offer you Windows 11. And that actually happens automatically for all devices that are sending basic or above telemetry. That's true for both Windows Server Update Service as well as Windows Update. So that's just something to keep in mind of, even if you accidentally target Windows 11 to some of those devices, in WSUS, it'll show as inapplicable, and in Windows Update, you'll be automatically safeguarded against the update and can then just move those devices that didn't upgrade to a different ring and continue getting Windows 10 updates.
Awesome. Thank you. There's a question that came in that I wanted to, I think in the interest of transparency and a shift to 11 in the UI, why can't I open recent Office files from Office apps via the Start menu in Windows 11 like I could do in Windows 10? Who can help me tackle that question? And what's the best approach?
I'll take a shot at that one. This is Joe.
Okay.
My friend Tamir actually asked that question, and as much as I don't like to say you should be able to, if you can't, go to Feedback Hub, but you should be able to. So if you can't, go to Feedback Hub and enter some feedback, or put in a ticket even, because you should be able to open your recent Office apps right from the Start menu by clicking on the app or the file itself. And that's one of the nice new designs of the Start menu, is that your most recent apps are right there in the Start menu. So you can just open Start and then click right to an app that a file that you've opened up recently. And going with that, Tamir has another question about the Start layout. So I want to mention that one as well. Is the Start layout is actually customizable to a point. In the latest Windows Insider preview release, we now have an opportunity to either add more pins, more recent files, or leave it at the default of, I think it's 3 lines of pins and a couple of lines of files. But now it's customizable. So you can have up to 5 lines of pinned items, which gives you fewer of the recent files, but it's now customizable. And I was talking about the Settings app before. It's very easy to find that in the Settings app, the Start menu layout. So again, you should be able to open Office files right from Start. And for your customers or for you, if you've made some UI changes and written some GUI configurations for your end users that rely on that start menu layout, that's now a little bit, it's more customizable in today's Insider preview. So that should be coming out shortly through some updates.
Okay.
Aria, I see you nodding your head. I don't know if you wanted to add to that.
I actually think you pretty much covered it. I was mostly just nodding because I was like, yeah, Joe has got this down. His spiel is finally on point and perfect. It's great.
Now, I'm actually going to piggyback on Joe here. The Office documents and files, it is easily doable through the start menu, as Joe mentioned. That's a recommended, you'll see a recommended list, and then you click on more, and it'll show you everything else that you have open recently. And there's also a search feature where you can find what you're looking for. It does work, at least it does work for me. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Harjit. I think one thing I'd like to try and tackle at least, I know that when the announcement came on June 24th about Windows 11, that one card held tightly close to the chest from our leadership team was the discussion about Android and the interaction with 11. So I was wondering if someone feels like they might be able to tackle this question on if is the Android subsystem restricted to the US, and if so, why? I'm not sure we can answer the why part, but who can share a little bit more about the Android subsystem and its interaction with 11? Am I going to stump the team?
I think you did stump the team. The Android subsystem may not be available globally, but I am 97% certain that it's available outside the US as well. Again, it may be only a handful of geos, but I do not believe that it's restricted to the US. I'm not on that team. I can't say that as an absolute certainty, but I'm pretty certain about that.
Okay. This just shows that we are living live. This is truly a live experience. We don't always have the right answer.
And also verify the obvious. Make sure you understand that this is still an insider preview component. So if you're on a release build of Windows 11, that may be the reason why you don't have access to this. So we do have plenty of documentation out there, including the recent blog posts that talk about how you can get access to this. Also, we partnered with Amazon on how to get these apps developed on the Windows subsystem for Android into the Amazon App Store as well. But again, it does require getting access to insider preview bits.
Great. Thank you, Steve. This next question is one that I'm actually really excited about. We spent a lot of time working on our content. Again, we drive towards a lot of prescriptive how-to content for IT pros. And one of the things that I think they're asking about and looking to learn more about is, should they wait until all of their devices meet the Windows 11 requirements before updating to 11? And I think I'm going to look to Aria to help me answer that question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I will talk to a bunch of different companies and IT admins and different positions about when to move to 11. When's the right time? Should I do it now? And one thing that comes up a lot is, hey, this idea of I need all of the devices in my organization to meet the requirements before moving. And that's not true. In fact, that's the opposite of how I think about it. It's more of, hey, I know for a typical organization, you've got device refresh cycles maybe every 3 to 5 years. And you don't want to spend money updating laptops, especially with the current supply chain, before you typically plan to. And that's totally okay. I would take advantage of the Windows 11 on the devices you can today. Test it out, see how it goes, have your employees learn productivity, experience all the new features, stay secure, and enjoy the amazing seamlessness of managing Windows 10 and 11 side by side. It's super easy, especially with Windows Update for Business. You can use the same exact policies. You can have the same exact deferral rings, and it seamlessly rolls out. Both updates still have security updates on Patch Tuesday, and it's super easy. And so I would say move all the devices that you can. When you get new devices, bring them on in Windows 11, and then just slowly over time get your estate more and more there. And you'll find that you'll actually have better experiences doing that. Don't wait, get started, and check it out today.
I would add to that to the IT pros, the IT decision makers, CIOs, and others that manage environments in their respective organizations. You're going to see more and more content from us that's reflective of Windows Client. And that means that, hey, we want to re-emphasize that, again, the tools and processes that you have in play today for 10 are going to work in 11. So as opposed to saying, hey, this only works for 10, this won't work for 11, most of our content you're going to see on tech community, docs.microsoft.com, and other resources will definitely reflect Windows Client more agnostically. So a good question came in is, why does Windows 11 affect my gaming performance? Does someone want to try and tackle that across this group? Am I going to stump the team again? I feel like I want to look to Steve to help me answer that question. I don't know how much of a gamer you are. I'm a little bit of a gamer. I spend most of my time on console, but I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on gaming performance on 11.
That would be a little vague. First of all, it would depend on the game. Or what kind of gaming we're doing here. If it's concerns with graphics, is it concern with bandwidth utilization? I haven't really noticed any change on the gaming I do on Windows 11. Of course, I'll caveat with that is I strictly limit myself to right now the EA app and the Xbox app and the for example, I can stream the show and play the show, MLB The Show, not trying to give them a plug or anything, but and I have not seen any degradation on my Lenovo X1 is what I play on that one. And I just recently moved a few months ago to Windows 11 from that. And, the question I would have, it would be, if you do notice a significant difference, have you filed feedback? Because again, that is the best way to get information back to us, is to actually file feedback through the feedback hub, especially if it's a performance problem, even with the game, because what we can have you do as part of that feedback is recreate or reproduce the problem, and performance tracing will be done by the feedback hub. And then that gets uploaded up to Microsoft, and we can assess this and try to get to the bottom of it, especially if others are also experiencing this. And again, when you file feedback on common topics like this, always search first to make sure nobody else has filed the same or similar feedback. Because if they have, you can instead upvote theirs, attach your data to that particular feedback item, and that helps get that problem more attention and more weight.
Yeah, good point. And, working with the customer service teams and the internal engineering teams, seeing the emails that fly on certain issues, and working with our good friend Kevin over in the customer experience team, I can say from experience that we are very proactive in addressing feedback that comes in through the channels and what have you. So just a heads up, there are multiple teams that are actively listening and responding to your feedback. We really are truly customer obsessed.
And just from the Windows 11, from the Windows 11 task menu, just type feedback hub and it'll come up. You don't even have to search for it.
Great. One other question. Since now it's a major release once per year, are we, someone's asking if they're expected to see any new features and enhancements in Windows 11 before the November 2022 release in GA. Anyone want to tackle that one? I think there's some teasers, and I see Aria's hand going up.
I know it's a legitimate hand too. It's not even like Teams where it's just, you raise your fake hand. It felt very weird. It felt like back in the schooling days. Sorry. Tangential aside. That's actually a great question. And as you know, there's feature updates and quality updates, and certain quality updates do also contain features that we decide are so important and so valuable we want to bring to in-market releases, whether that in-market release is Windows 10 or Windows 11 or any versions in between. Now, one thing that I recommend you do, and again, I'm biased because I love the Windows Insider program, especially the Windows Insider program for business, is join Release Preview. Now, if you join Release Preview, which is one of the Windows Insider rings, you can choose whether to stay on Windows 10 21H2 or any in-market release of Windows 10 and check out quality updates. And you'll get the optional quality updates that are going to go into the next security update to that current version. Same thing for Windows 11. you can be in release preview, join, get Windows 11, and stay there, and basically get all of those optional quality updates that contain fixes and features that'll be in the next security quality update, which means you get a 2 to 3 week preview of any features and fixes coming to your current version. Now, that's not really an answer to whether or not we have any cool new features coming, although we have a pretty decent chance of giving you some fixes and features on any version that you're running. But if you do join release preview, you'll be the first to know. And don't forget to check out our documentation where we share that information as well, in case you don't want to actually test it for yourself.
Thank you, Aria. We have time for one last question, and it's around hardware requirements and endpoint analytics. So other than hardware requirement checks, does endpoint analytics and Windows 11 readiness tell me if the device is certified for Windows 11 by the hardware vendor, i.e. like drivers, support, and etc.? Who wants to help me take that question? Put out the feelers. I see Joe smiling.
I'm smiling because of the. I really appreciate that Tamir is asking these questions, because Tamir is part of our FastTrack team, and our FastTrack team works with customers like you all the time, and these are the questions that his customers are asking to him. So the question basically, other than hardware requirement checks, is endpoint analytics, Windows 11 readiness, tell me if the device is certified for Windows 11. I don't believe it specifically says this device is certified, but it does tell you which drivers are not certified. So you can say that this laptop or this PC cannot upgrade because of these drivers, or can upgrade because everything works with Windows 11. So as a whole, I don't believe, and maybe Harjit can answer, but I don't believe that the answer will say this laptop is certified, but it'll at least tell you that all the hardware within the laptop is certified.
Endpoint Analytics is not going to speak on behalf of a vendor officially, but the ultimate concern here is compatibility, and there's two things there. There is what Joe said, and of course, don't forget, with Windows 11, we're still going to continue the same thing we've done with Windows 10 and safeguard holds as well. So you have two protection mechanisms for ensuring that your device is not going to be delivered or as best as possible a disruptive build or disruptive update.
Harjit, anything to add on that one?
No, I think that's correct. Everything that's said is correct. I just want to go back to something Aria touched upon earlier about the Windows Insider releases. I can't emphasize enough about that particular solution that's out there for everybody, right? To start leveraging it, use it. I preach it all the time to my customers and everybody else, because if you're going to wait for the GA release and then you're going to wait, do your testing at that point in time, you're already losing support timeline, right? You're already eating up into the 36 months or life cycle of the product. So start early, play with the new features, test your applications, test your software updates and all that fun stuff, and then you're ready to go. So that's my 2 cents.
It's like the perfect segue to closing out. So thank you, Harjit. I think that was like the perfect plug for Windows 11 and for organizations to start testing. Everyone, I want to thank you guys for joining. Harjit, Aria, Joe, or Joey Southside, as it was, our canine representation, and of course, Mr. Steve Thomas. It's been a pleasure working with you guys this morning. I just solo our family time for AMAs. We call them family hours. We do have an AMA every month on Windows Tech Community, and we encourage everyone to come join and ask targeted questions that are specific to their environment, because I think we're now up to something like 20 SMEs that join us. So you're always welcome to join. But I just want to thank you guys for taking some time to spend some time with customers. Thank you so much. You can learn more, of course, at aka.ms/Windows11/deployment docs. My name is Thomas Trombley with the Windows Servicing and Delivery team. I want to thank everyone for joining today.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.